The other part to this whole thing is not about Luis Ortiz or Deontay Wilder. It's about MMA fighter versus boxer, Brian Campbell, which brings us to our next topic. This is a thing that I cannot believe is happening, but it's happening. If you read boxing websites, a little bit less so on the boxing side, although some of it, certainly on the MMA side, there are a number of stories out now floating about Canelo versus Jorge, or Tyson Fury versus Stipe, or you'll bring this up a little bit later, Clarissa Shields. That's a little bit different, I think. And I'm sure I'm missing some other ones here that have been brought up to me. Oh, I remember this one. Remember the old Khabib versus Mayweather one that got floated out there?
Floyd said he's going to come back and do it in the octagon?
Okay, here's the thing about this. I wonder what your opinion is about all of these. I'm going to go first, if I may. I want to be very clear about this. There might be the occasional situation where one fighter going over to the other side could be worth taking seriously.
Like this one right here is not that one. Maymack is a once-in-a-lifetime phenomenon.
But even that wasn't real. That had other appeal, like let's just do strange shit and make money doing it. And you're like,
but the idea of having two in the same sport at that level of stardom to cross paths.
Okay, but in terms of a fight, people who thought it was competitive got finessed. Let's just be real about that, okay? Now
You're talking about Brendan Schaub or no?
Did he actually ever pick Conor?
Yes, he did.
No, I don't think he did.
I think he did.
I think he picked Mayweather.
Can we phone a friend and get Brendan Schaub in here and make him stand up for his sins?
Jay is saying that Brendan picked Conor, in which case I have to have a talk with Brendan about that. All right, but here,
let me pour one out for that.
Let me make a point, if I may. I can scarcely think of any other type of story in media right now that shows how utterly bankrupt and frankly broken the news gathering system is, other than this one. Because while I can envision a situation, for example, the Ukrainian donk who is the Matrix, what's his name? My mind is... Lomachenko actually has a combat sports background. He did wrestling as a kid, I believe some sambo as well, some judo. If he wanted to start off on a low-level fight just to I don't know, for some reason he couldn't get a boxing fight, or he just wanted to spread his combative wings, I would take that seriously depending on the circumstances. And I understand if you're Jorge Masvidal, for example, he might actually believe that he really could be competitive. It is, to me, possible that these guys who prop themselves up in their minds and want to take on the biggest challenges, they can actually build a bridge too far in their mind. So I take that kind of seriously as well. But everybody else who is promoting this nonsense, they are taking the audience for suckers. Because only a sucker would ever look at a situation like Tyson Fury fighting Stipe and think in either direction that is real. Only a sucker would think that Canelo, really at $35 million, would want to go and fight a UFC fighter who he probably doesn't know. It's not something he's thinking about. It's not on his radar in any capacity. It's not where boxing fans are looking for. I've been looking to see what boxing fans say should be next for him across 3 different divisions. I never see any of the names for UFC fighters coming up. It is a clear indication that the news model in MMA and in boxing, to a degree, is broken, and that, like P.T. Barnum says, dude, there is a sucker born every minute because those stories keep getting clicks.
Guess who set the modern blueprint on how to do this? It was Floyd Mayweather, and then Conor McGregor kind of took that and ran with it. And what Tyson Fury is doing right now, which means putting out these headlines of saying, Conor McGregor said he'll train me, so I certainly would love to fight Stipe. And Stipe even taking it and going public and saying, I don't even want DC right now. I want this boxing match with Fury. And Fury going the extra level of putting out that training video with Darren Till. It's so blatantly from that Floyd playbook of Floyd was right. In the 1-year build to that Maymack fight, Floyd was a front page headline on every MMA site every other week because he was constantly saying, I'm the biggest star in UFC, even though I've never stepped foot in there. And that's exactly what Tyson Fury is doing to the letter. Remember when Floyd was the main event of, or not the main event, but went for WrestleMania 24, had that quick boxing retirement?
I don't.
Spread his seed across WWE, then Dancing with the Stars to become a bigger crossover star. Exactly what Tyson Fury's doing just recently with the WWE and seems to be doing in voice now with these UFC headlines. But yeah, in these situations, it's not realistic. It shouldn't be realistic. I don't want it in my life. Get it away from me. Stop. Editors, stop greenlighting these stories. People stop retweeting it. Just stop. Okay?
Stop.
Under no circumstances, the boxing heavyweight champion of the world with no fighting background other than letting his hands go is going to go over and take a UFC fight. And I get the idea because Maymack happened that somebody like Stipe would be like, yeah, of course I'd go over and do that, man. I'd take that payday. But Maymac has not had a long line of repetitors like we thought they might, right?
Repetitors?
Because there was such a perfect storm to get people to care that much. I'm not saying people wouldn't care about Stipe and Tyson Fury in a boxing match, but even to get UFC even to get Dana to get on Conor's side was like such a one-off perfect storm. So much money in there that everybody's got to just sleep together and make it happen.
And also the other part about it is, look, two factors about Maymac that make it a little bit unusual. One was the extraordinary amount of money, even by Floyd Mayweather standards.
Yes.
I mean, that was his biggest payday ever, I believe, right? And that was Floyd, who had a $40 million guaranteed against Canelo Floyd, right? So that was a lot of money there. That is not going to be repeated if there was a Tyson Fury versus Stipe fight, number one. Number two, look, you can say what you want about that fight. It wasn't competitive in the sense that, like, I don't think Floyd was carrying Conor, but I don't think he was trying all that hard.
People in Floyd's camp who I'm close with said he did not train for that, like, at all.
Right.
Like, he got abs, and that was it.
Right.
And he knew exactly what was going to happen.
Right, and he walked Conor down, marched him down, and then stopped him with strikes, okay? So the reality is, though, that Conor had that early 3-round push that folks were like, wow, he's really doing it. So in other words, everyone made a ton of money, and both sides kind of could declare moral victory or moral victory in a way. Where, like, dude, let me tell you something. If somebody goes from UFC and tries to box Tyson Fury, I mean, he's not much of a puncher. He would knock them the fuck out.
And you got to understand the framing of what Maymac made it work so well. Outside of just the money and the star value, which, again, is such a perfect comet to hit each other, the fact that Floyd was old and out of the game for 2 years, and that Conor was on such an absurd run of calling his shot and just doing things that we didn't think were possible. Knocking Jose Aldo out with the first punch, luring Eddie Alvarez into this easy brawl and finishing him in a new weight class, that it was easy to dupe the public into believing. Even us hardcore boxing journalists got to a certain point where we had to check ourselves and go, wait, he shouldn't be competitive in this at all. But Mystic Mac keeps doing these freaking things that are just impossible if anybody...
Well, that was the bubble beginning to pop.
If anybody could have it, and then you go, wait, what am I talking about? You don't have that in any other fight. Plus, you can really only fool the public on that level once, and they did it. And it was perfect, and executed perfect. And even me covering the fight live when Conor had the success.
People had a good time.
By the way, when Conor had success in the first 4 rounds, I'm even going, oh my God, is Floyd washed? Like, is it over? Like, is Conor going to have, everything about that execution was perfect.
Right.
You're not going to get that again under any circumstance. So outside of somebody like Clarissa Shields, the unbeaten women's boxing champion in many different weight classes, her saying after this next fight on Showtime, the rematch, or I'm sorry, they're going to run it back with Ivana Habazin.
They were supposed to fight, they didn't.
She says, look, I'm going to cross over and get into MMA training. Someone like that, you can believe she's so young.
Well, she has
more money in MMA.
Yes, the Stipes and the Jorges of the world realize the big money's in boxing because Canelo's making $35 million over on DAZN to fight, 2 weight classes up or whatever. But in the case of Clarissa Shields, it's not just that there's bigger paydays. No, really, there's ample opportunity and there's not much of a barrier to entry. Whereas for someone like Jorge and Stipe, there's a major barrier to entry, including but not limited to Dana White's John Hancock.
And I don't think this is different from the whole YouTube debate that we had last week of Logan Paul and KSI, that rematch. And DAZN may have set their own record for subs and all that, but how many more times are people going to care when you're going down the food chain of YouTube stars now, and it's Jake Paul next time, and it's Joe Blow the next time? We're going to get to a certain point where we're going to go like, okay, this isn't boxing. I don't care anymore. Can we stop this?
Right.
And I hope that moment is now, but I don't run networks. I mean, I just speak bad about them.
Just pay attention to who in media keeps promoting this and realize they're doing that because they take you as the audience for suckers.